5 ancient philosophies to survive the modern world. Have you ever felt like you're living in a world that isn't meant for you? A world where everything moves too fast, where your value is measured by likes, salary, or surface-level achievements? You try to keep up, try to prove yourself, try not to fall behind. But the more you try, the more exhausted you become. The more you run, the more lost you feel. Amid chaos, noise, pressure, and expectations, there is a forgotten stillness, a source of strength that has existed for thousands of years, but can still save you today. It is the ancient philosophy of the Stoics. In this video, you and I will go deep into 5 survival philosophies passed down by sages like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Not for you to adopt another belief system, but so you can endure with dignity in this upside-down era. Right now, let's step into the first philosophy. Philosophy 1. Don't seek peace in the external world. One of modern humanity's biggest mistakes is believing that if we can control everything outside, the inside will automatically be at ease. You look for a stable job, a perfect partner, a sufficiently comfortable home. You try to build a personal image, pursue success, and keep your schedule busy, believing that doing so will make you happy. But then one day you realize, even with all that, your mind is still chaotic. Anxiety still arrives at night. Fear still quietly gnaws at you in the moments that seem most peaceful. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Don't waste time looking for peace elsewhere. It exists only within your own mind." This isn't a consolation, it's a harsh truth. Because if peace comes from the external world, you will forever be its slave. When the world tilts, you fall with it. When someone doesn't acknowledge you, you lose direction. When you lose something, you lose yourself with it. The Stoic understands everything external, money, fame, affection, living conditions, lies outside our control. And placing expectations on what you cannot control is the recipe for suffering. Epictetus, a slave who became a philosopher, once said, "You cannot control the world, but you can control how you respond to it." Therefore, the first philosophy for surviving the modern world is to return inward. See your mind as a fortress. The outside can be loud, but you don't have to let it occupy the inside. You can keep your clarity amid a chaotic crowd. You can choose silence when others argue. You can choose gratitude when you lose something. The Stoic does not flee the world. They live within it, without being ruled by it. That's why, in an age where everyone wants to control everything, the Stoic chooses to control themselves. When you understand that peace doesn't come from the outside world, the next question is, within us, what is truly necessary to survive and not lose ourselves? The answer lies in the second philosophy, one of the deepest cores of Stoicism. Philosophy 2. You can't control everything, but you can always control yourself. In the modern world, one of the most dangerous illusions is the sense that we can control everything. You want your career to go exactly as planned. You want your partner to fully understand you. You want your children to listen, your job to be stable, society to be fair. You want everything to go your way because you believe only then will you feel at ease. And when reality doesn't match your imagination, you get angry, you get disappointed, you get confused, you lose your bearings. Epictetus, who once lived as a slave, yet became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, divided life with a simple but liberating line. There are 2 kinds of things in life, the things we control and the things we cannot control. He taught that merely distinguishing these 2 clearly will let you live more peacefully than 90% of humanity. Take a look. Can you control other people's thoughts? Number. Can you control the weather, the markets, politics, people's hearts, or luck? Number. Can you control every word, every emotion, every situation that will occur in your life? Even less so. But you can control how you respond to adversity, how you maintain composure in the face of absurdity, how you train your inner life not to be swept away by the world. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The outside is what you cannot control, but the inner life always lies in your hands." In the most chaotic moments, this becomes even more vital. You don't need to try to control everything. You only need to control yourself. When someone insults you, you have the right to remain silent. When a plan fails, you have the right not to lose confidence. When the world rages, you have the right not to be dragged into that emotional storm. The Stoics call this mastery of the inner life, a quality no one can take from you unless you abandon it yourself. Imagine your inner life as a boat on the sea. You cannot make the sea stop waving, but you can learn to steer, to hold the rudder firm, and to keep the water from flooding in. The world out there may change without end, but when you realize you don't need to control everything, you will feel a deep lightness. You will no longer be exhausted from carrying everything. You will no longer judge others just because they don't match your expectations. You will no longer collapse when things don't go as planned. You will stand firm because you know the only thing you truly need to control is always yourself. And when you've learned to return to controlling yourself, no longer clinging to what's out of reach, the next big question appears. How do you live true to your values without being manipulated by the world? That's what the next philosophy will reveal. But if you've stayed this far and haven't left, then you're either a Stoic in the making or your phone froze. Whatever the reason, thank you for staying. And if you find this channel doesn't make you anxious, the subscribe button is still in the same place. Waiting to be tapped is a small act to give your mind a place to come home to. Philosophy 3. Emotions are guests. Reason is the host. In modern life, where emotions are amplified and easily spread, people easily become slaves to their own feelings. We get angry over a negative comment. We panic over a few lines of bad news. We let a minor rejection keep us up all night. We let a cold glance trouble us for weeks. All those reactions don't arise from the world, but from our inner permission. The Stoics never taught people to be hard as steel or numb as stone. They only taught, let emotions pass through, but don't let them take the wheel. Seneca, who lived amid the jealousy and scheming of the Roman court, wrote, "It is not events that make us suffer, but the way we interpret them." You can grieve, be angry, be disappointed. That's instinct. But you have the right not to be drowned by those feelings. You can allow yourself to cry, but don't let tears decide your future. You can feel hurt, but don't let that wound become your identity. The Stoics teach, emotions are guests who come and go, but reason must be the host. When you're angry, ask yourself, does this anger solve the problem? Or does it only rob me of calm and push me into unwise reactions? When you're afraid, pause and observe. Is this fear real? Or just a scenario in my head that hasn't happened? Epictetus said, "You cannot choose what happens, but you can always choose how to respond." If understood deeply, that sentence is the most powerful weapon to escape negative emotions. In the age of social media, where emotions are inflated by the minute, keeping your mind bright enough to avoid hasty reactions is a form of wisdom. A criticism isn't necessarily correct. A cold glance isn't necessarily ill-intentioned. A mistake doesn't necessarily ruin everything. Let reason keep the wheel, even when emotions are screaming inside you. Practice breathing deeply, take a step back, and ask yourself, do I really need to react right now? Is this emotion serving my long-term good? With enough practice, you will notice something strange. Emotions no longer lead you. You lead your emotions. You'll live more calmly, more strongly, not because you're numb, but because you've mastered your mind. You don't avoid emotions. You simply don't let them run your life. And that is true freedom. When you've learned to keep reason steady amid a sea of chaotic feelings, another issue appears. How do you live true to your values without being manipulated by the world? That's what the next philosophy will reveal to you. But if you've watched to this point and haven't left, then you're either a potential Stoic or your phone has frozen. Whatever the reason, thank you for staying. And if you find that this channel doesn't make you anxious, the subscribe button is still right where it was, waiting to be touched as a small act, to keep your mind a place to return to. Philosophy 4. Act according to values, not the crowd. Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to please everyone? Have you ever changed your words, your clothes, even your decisions just to avoid being judged? Have you ever abandoned what you truly believe in simply because you feared people would think you're strange or different? The modern world is an arena of performance. People compete to display their egos, to seize attention, to build images, and in that race, many lose their true identity. You get pulled into standards defined by social media, by the community, by people you've never even met in real life. You're told that if you don't follow the crowd, you'll be left behind. You're encouraged that if you don't adapt to trends, you'll fail. But the Stoic chooses the opposite. They don't chase applause, nor do they flee from boos. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor above millions, once wrote in Meditations, "Never be ashamed of living according to your nature, even if no one agrees with you." The Stoic lives by inner values, not external opinion. They ask themselves each day, is what I'm about to do in line with my ethics? Does it help me become the person I want to be? Or am I just doing it to impress others? They don't need to be loved by the masses. They only need to respect themselves. The truth is, you cannot please everyone. Even if you are perfect, some will hate you. Even if you are kind, some will attack you. Even if you are right, some will distort you. So why not live true to what you believe? When you live true to your values, you may lose a few shallow relationships, but you'll keep your spine. You may appear out of place in the eyes of some groups, but you'll be at peace in your own heart each night. Living by values doesn't mean being rigid. It means living with direction. You can be flexible, but not lose your roots. You can adapt, but not betray your conscience. The Stoic is not someone who fights against the world. They are simply someone who refuses to let the world force them into being a copy of the crowd. When you choose to live true to yourself, without showing off, without striving to impress, you'll be surprised to find the people who truly resonate will naturally come to you. The connections that are truly deep will be built on that honesty, and that is the foundation of a strong life, simple but profound. When you've lived true to your values, the final thing the Stoics emphasize is this: accept adversity as an inevitable part of life and turn it into an opportunity to grow. That will be the final philosophy in this journey. Philosophy 5. Welcome adversity like an uninvited guest. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I have to go through so many hardships? Why does life keep testing me again and again? You are not alone in these questions. In the modern world, everyone is struggling with something. Losing a job, losing a loved one, breakups, financial pressure, illness, or simply an emptiness without escape. And what is the most common response? Running away, trying to chase the pain away, doing everything to make things go back to how they were. But Stoic philosophy teaches us something counterintuitive. Adversity is not the enemy. Adversity is part of the path. Epictetus, who lived much of his life as a slave, said, "Do not wish for events to happen as you want them. Wish instead to welcome whatever happens with a steady mind." Instead of raging when life isn't as expected, the Stoic learns to accept and act. They don't indulge in the illusion that life will always be smooth sailing. On the contrary, they prepare for the worst, so they won't collapse when it arrives. A father loses his job but remains strong for his family. A young person is betrayed but doesn't turn bitter. A patient suffers illness but still lives each day fully. That is how the Stoic lives amid adversity. They don't lose their character because of what lies beyond their control. They turn sorrow into training. They turn hardship into a chance to strengthen character. They turn failure into a lesson. We cannot control circumstances, but we can always control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who endured great loss, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That sentence is the compass of the Stoic when facing an uncertain world. You can start with the smallest things. A criticism, rather than reacting, observe your feelings. An unexpected mishap, rather than panic, act with reason. A loss, rather than fleeing, allow yourself to feel it and then move forward. The Stoic is not someone without emotions. They are someone who doesn't let emotions dictate their actions. This world will always have upheavals. Peace doesn't come from everything being calm. It comes from your mind holding steady through every storm. If you feel these philosophies are helping you stand firmer amid life's uncertainties, share this video with a friend who is lost. Perhaps it will be the small light that sparks hope. Join the conversation in the comments. No one can take away a steady mind unless you give it away yourself. Epictetus. That's the reminder for each of us every day to live deeper, not just exist. Philosophical conclusion. We've just gone through 5 ancient philosophies distilled from thousands of years ago, yet more relevant than ever today, because humans are still humans, with or without technology, in ancient Rome or the digital age. We still have to learn how to face ourselves, understand ourselves, and keep our inner strength in the storm. Stoic philosophy doesn't make life easier. It only makes you stronger, more resilient, and more profound, no matter how life turns out. If you feel something has shifted inside after finishing this video, hit subscribe to walk with us on this journey of building a life strong from within. Stoicism Empire, the empire of souls steady as stone.